he got his. Look at that. Oh, that's so weird.
Here.
Wait, can I get
Working.
So now, all right. So now we have to put this clip in all of our videos.
Water tower, let's go.
Water tower. I left my house around 10:30 a.m. March 5th, heading to the Water Tower event. I'd gone to a few MetaZoo events last year and thought I knew what to expect. Only one thing is ever certain in life, though. You never know when an unexpected experience will change your perspective. Welcome to Operation Water Tower. The drive was full of wind and rain, but that wasn't going to stop me. It also gave me a lot of time to think about this video and how I was going to cover the event. See, I usually just cover the lore and storyline of MetaZoo. I'd never really made a gameplay video or covered an event as a player. That would soon change though, as I was one of many casters competing for the coveted title of Head Watercaster. And in all honesty, I was nervous. I'd never played at that competitive level before. On top of this was the first time I'd be meeting members of the community that I'd talked to for almost over a year. People I consider amazing friends but never met face to face. All of that worry disappeared the moment I got to the MetaZoo house, as Harley from EpicTube called it. John from Immortal Workshop had gotten a house for the team he sponsors and graciously invited me to stay for the weekend. I spent the next few hours playtesting my spellbook. I needed to get some much needed practice in before the next day. After a few great games and exhausted from the drive, I decided to get some sleep in preparation for the next day. I got to the Great Wolf Lodge early in order to get some footage of the festival. The Water Tower event was taking place at the first annual Loveland Frogman Festival. This, in my opinion, was a brilliant idea. In the lore, Love lives in Loveland, Ohio, in the Loveland Castle. It's here in this town that Sam gets his first real taste in combat as a caster. So it was fitting to have the first ever MetaZoo Tower event in the same area both Love lived and Sam fought. Before the event started though, I wanted to walk around and say hi to some vendors from previous events. Shout out to my friends at Cryptids of the Corn. It was amazing seeing you all again. You definitely want to check out their podcasts. I walked and talked to a few more vendors and even saw my buddy over at Crypto Theology. His stuff always impresses. I saw one of my favorite vendors at the event, the two over at Seymour's Captive Cryptids. I could not wait to see the Frogman mask that they had made. I met them back at CryptidCon and watched on Instagram the process of this mask being made over the past couple months, and I tell you what, they did not disappoint. The tournament space was all set up and ready, people just doing last-minute spellbook checks, but it did not take much time for it to fill up. It was awesome because the vendors for the festival were right next to the tournament area. This meant that everyone that came to the festival would not only see the MetaZoo event, but also its full size. Last-minute preparations were made, and then the MZOs got ready for deck checks.
Fast, fun, and fair game today, so let's have some fun. So with that being said, we're going to start lining up for registration. We're going to have the line start right down here. We're going to go out the door to the hallway, that away.
The lines for both deck checks and artist autographs began to grow. I got some footage of both just to document it. Even went live on YouTube for a little bit. but then I had to go get set up for the other big reason I was here, to live stream Dee the Storytellers' presentation. For those that don't know, Dee is one of my favorite people in the MetaZoo community. Their knowledge of cryptids is extensive, but it's their personality that I love. I made sure the live stream was good to go for their presentation and settled in to listen to them present. I'll leave a link down below so you can watch this awesome stream. I left to get my spellbook checked in. After I was cleared good to go, I went to get ready for my first match. Before I started the first round, I ran into Andy and Texas Ted. Ted I had had the opportunity to get to know at CryptidCon last year, and it was great to see him again. It was awesome to talk to Andy. I hadn't had a chance to see him since Charlotte Collecticon last year. He even let me see the Ring of Solomon he had on him, and trust me, I've already started to work on a translation. Did you know there was text on the side of it? I continued to explore as they opened up registration to walk-in casters. It was really awesome walking around, seeing how excited everybody was for the tournament to begin. One of the biggest things I learned from this tournament is how to effectively use traps while playing MetaZoo. I'd never really messed with traps before, and that's mainly what my deck was. Use bait robbers in order to draw cards to keep the momentum going forward, in order to be able to stall with things like Bandage Man until I could get Chessie or Missy Pishu out. Round 1 began and I settled into my chair. I was nervous for sure. My opponent was great, and in the end he ended up winning 2-1, but I had learned a very valuable lesson. Don't be afraid to mulligan. That was something that I would hold dear the rest of the tournament. My second opponent was a really funny guy, and I loved the games with him. I was able to get some very fast aggro out, so I was able to beat him 2-0, but I loved the 2 games we had. It was at this point, though, that I really started to get more confident in myself and my ability to be able to play. I really thought that maybe I could do something. So with renewed confidence, I went into round 3. Round 3 just turned into a big ol' stalemate slug match. My opponent ended up winning the first game, but then I was able to take the second game. With time being called, we ended up with just a draw. Round 4 was a lot of fun. The guy I played recognized who I was and was stoked. The games were amazing as well, again turning into just one big huge slugfest, but ultimately ending in another draw because of time being called. Round 5 was my favorite out of the entire event. I got the opportunity to play a fellow walking spam. Not only that, but it was on the Twitch stream. These games were hands down my favorite. We got time called and went down to turns, with Kesey using an amazingly timed play with River of Time. She played her Black Demon and was able to do just a little bit more damage than I had done the previous turn. Like I said, the best games. Not only down to time being called, not only down to turns, but just a little bit more damage than I was able to do on my last attack. I ended the round losing it 1-2. Round 5 was a lot of fun against Kitty. Both her and her boyfriends are fans of the channel, so it was great to meet them. Kitty put up an amazing fight, but ultimately I won the round 2-1. At this point, I'll be honest, I didn't think I'd be able to get top 32. With the 2 losses, I figured I was out, but I was still going to give it my all, and I was going to see what I could do with the last 2 games.
Round 7 starts now.
Round 7 was tough because it was the first time I'd gone up against a Christmas ornament deck, and for some reason it seemed to be a decent counter to the trap-heavy spellbook that I was running. All 3 of these games, though, were a blast. We kept just using Loveland's ability on everything. At the end of it, though, I was able to pull out the win, ending the round with a record 2-1. I loved the hand-drawn token, though, he gave me. Round 8 started, and at this point you could tell everyone was getting tired. I got the absolute pleasure to play Hyperbole. Jay was using an ornament spellbook as well, so I didn't have much trouble, but I still wish he wouldn't have actually gotten Aura Locked the second game. These games were special to me though, because the first sanctioned event I ever really went to was at Mothman Festival, and Jay, Hyperbole, he was the one that hosted that, and so it was very fitting and it was awesome to actually not only see him again, but also get a chance to play him in the tower.
Jerry Miller, 2 Dudes Gaming. We got Lester Smith in second. Douglas Haas in third. Andres Lopez fourth. Herman Herrera in fifth. Albert Dr. Clark Jacobs in sixth. Justin Fulkerson, 2 Dudes Gaming in seventh. Antonio Hammond Gonzalez Roberts in 9th, Abel Jacoby in 10th, Ricky Tovar in 11th, Caleb McGraw in 12th, Fredrick Chang in 13th, Brandon Duman for 14th, Kevin Wood for 15th, Logan Schneider is 16th, Johnny Dunn in 17th, Noah Duncan in 18th, Easton Evans in 19th, Robbie Hadley in 20th, Michael Beaumont in 21st, Chris Johnson in 22nd, Jonathan Eisler in 23rd, Steven Silverman in 24th, Taylor Hassell in 25th, Sean MacKelvey in 26th, David Gonzalez in 27th, Dylan Dewey Tran in 28th, Luis Perez in 29th, Jake Kumar in 30th, Robbie Bowson in 31st, and finally Joshua Flores in 32nd.
I'll admit, I was bummed not to make top 32, but really I was proud. Here I was at my first competition at this level, and I had ended with a record of 4-2-2. You needed at least 16 points, and I had only 14. Not that bad. I ended up placing officially in 52nd. I had thought I was going to get swept, so that blew me away. With day 1 completed, a group of us went to go get some food, and then went back to get some much-needed sleep. Not playing day 2 is almost a blessing in disguise. Yes, of course, I would love to have been crowned watercaster, but I was able to talk to so many amazing community members I hadn't been able to while I was playing. It was awesome to see the turnout for day 2 also. The Frogman Festival was only one day, so everyone here was here for MetaZoo. The top 32 matches started and seemed to go by in just a blip. The room was ablaze with energy as the top 16 started. I do want to take a second though and mention how awesome it was for Jet and Kelsey to stay for the second day. This gave us players that weren't playing the opportunity to talk with them and get signatures, and I finally got some of the Grail cards that I really wanted signed, so thank you. And of course both days they had massive lines. 16 went to 8, which in turn went to 4. Almost everyone there was watching the top 4 matches. The energy in the room was immense. Once the 3rd and 4th place match was decided, all eyes went to table 1. There was a buildup of energy that could be felt throughout the conference hall. That energy erupted into a fury when Sean swung his chessie for the last time. We had just crowned not only the Waterhead caster, but the first tower caster in history. I know I keep saying that, but in my opinion it really was a historic day. It's hard to convey the emotion and energy in that room, but it can be described using one word: love. Love for a teammate, love for spending time with friends meeting for the first time. And even though I didn't win, I felt that same emotion. Here are people I've talked to for months, and we got to experience this together. Harley from EpicTube, Ian from Cardboard and Coffee, Claire the Rusty Ranger, who I can't tell you how amazingly fantastic she is. Go and check out her content. One of my favorite people from the Discord, Slippy Napkin, and MetaZoo. MetaZoo is the biggest supporter of this channel. And we were together, and we witnessed the beginning of something brand new, the MetaZoo Towers format. I made sure I was good for the award ceremony and settled in.
Just completed gameplay on day 2. Thank you to all of our judges, our fantastic R&D team, and of course, our entire community that came out. In just a couple of minutes here, we're going to get our head of R&D right here, Elliot Fajir, to start giving away some of our prizes that are behind me. I don't know if the camera's picking those up just yet, but you guys will have a chance to see all of our casters come up here and claim their prizes that they've rightfully earned through this tower. And of course, we will announce our first water tower caster. Woo! Yeah! All right, I'm going to give it over to Fajir to start handing out some of this prize for, so take it away.
Thank you very much, Andy. And in fourth place, Easton Evans. Finally, first, second, third. Third place, Fredrick Chang. In second place, Abel Jacoby.
Of course, we've got to announce our first ever tower caster, Sean McKinney. Hey, congratulations, everybody give him a round of applause.
Every single caster in this event should take a moment to realize we had just made history. Yes, we all can't win, but when we look back in 5 years and see where MetaZoo is, this event will feel like a lifetime ago. It was so humbling to be here, to witness the first tower event. After the awards were given, I was able to get a picture with Sean as the last giveaway of the event started. Even at the end of an event, MetaZoo still draws massive lines. I stayed behind until the very end, just so I could thank the MZOs and all of the staff there. In my opinion, they had pulled off a very successful event. I took one last look around, said a few more goodbyes, and then left to start my second objective, to go to Loveland Castle. See, Loveland Castle is a real place, a real castle. With it only being 15 minutes from the event space, we had to go and check it out. Loveland Castle is such an iconic location in the comics. Chapters 3 through 6 all take place there mostly. I didn't get a chance to take the tour as day 2 had taken longer than I had thought, but Nate showed me something that blew my mind. The wilderness terrace for snowing was the view of the actual castle from the outside. This was one of my favorite memories of this trip, going to such an iconic location and still finding out there is more to the lore of MetaZoo. See, I look at that word different now. Most everyone knows that I call myself the lore keeper for MetaZoo. I always describe my channel as full of the MetaZoo lore and storyline. I've recently began thinking though that lore and storyline are the same thing. Why am I repeating it? But this trip led me to a realization that yes, the storyline of MetaZoo is a part of the lore, but that word lore encompasses so much more. Everything MetaZoo has done over the last 3 years is a part of MetaZoo lore. The story behind MetaZoo, the community, the friendships, the teams, the inclusiveness, the love. We had just witnessed MetaZoo lore in real time, MetaZoo history. I can't wait to look back in 5 or 10 years and say, yeah, I was there. And the road to where we are now has been long and amazing, but it's been an amazing ride. It's also humbling that there are so many people that not just support me, but all sorts of content creators. This is just the beginning, and I love that I have the opportunity to chronicle MetaZoo lore for future casters.